In today's Parents in Action, we're talking drug use and your teenagers. You know, these days kids are growing up with drug references on TV and music and seemingly everywhere they turn. So now more than ever, it is so important for us as parents to talk with our kids about drugs and how to avoid them. Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine editor Angela Ardolino is here now with some advice. Always good to see you.
You too.
You say before you have the talk with your kids, make sure they understand which drugs are off limits and what they do to their bodies.
Absolutely. And as parents, we have to educate ourselves because there is so much out there now that it's hard to keep up. First of all, kids are concerned with the fact that they don't trust anybody telling them what's bad and what's good. A lot of kids experiment with marijuana in high school. A lot of them try it for the first time, and they see everybody out there telling them not to do these drugs, and then they see it being legalized. So they feel like, who do they trust? What is really dangerous out there? So it's very important for parents to not only educate themselves of what's out there, but then turn around and educate their children. I mean, there are drugs out there. There's bath salts that the packaging, it's sold in stores or online. Kids can actually go buy it. You never know. And it is extremely dangerous and so much worse than something like marijuana. You know, there's e-cigarettes now that they're putting things in the oil that goes into the e-cigarette that damage kids. So all these things that we have to keep up with parents is a lot. But we need to know so that we can then educate our children correctly.
Now you say, and then once you know for sure that your kids understand which drugs are off limits, which ones are illegal, then you talk to them and let them ask you questions. And if they are misguided, then you direct them and tell them, no, this isn't true.
Exactly. One of the things that I find myself saying all the time to teenagers is that they go, well, you know, marijuana is legal, so it can't be bad. Or prescription drugs are legal, they can't be bad. There's a whole bunch of them in my parents' cabinet, you know, that get me high.
Or you see the stuff sold in the stores, so it can't hurt me.
Exactly. So you need to understand, first of all, they need to understand that they're still growing and developing, and their brains are still growing and developing. So yeah, sure, they could smoke marijuana, but it'll be much different effect on them than when they're older. So it's very important that they understand that sure, it may be illegal, there may be medical, you know, things to do with marijuana, but that doesn't mean you try it when you're young, because it will mess you up later in life. All of these things do. You have to be completely truthful and blunt with them. Start early, have those conversations. Anytime you see something on television or in a movie, stop, talk about it. Did you see what they just did? Okay, well, hopefully they'll show you the effects of that. Tell them why prescription drugs are only for a certain ailment and not for kids to play with, and what happens and how they could become addicted and ruin their lives. So these are very important that you have these conversations as early and make it no big deal. If there's something on TV, pause it, talk about it. What do you think? What are they doing? That type of thing. And we also need to remember cigarettes. Cigarettes are legal, and cigarettes are so dangerous and addictive. So, you know, you got to think of everything from alcohol and cigarettes being the top two things that hurt our children. Those are the most important that we talk about.
And very quickly, you say it's important for parents to make sure their kids know where they stand on drugs.
Absolutely. That we will not have them in my house. This is what happens, you know, and stick to it. And you need to make sure and look for signs. There are signs that you can tell that your kids may be withdrawn or sleepy, not doing good in school, you know, those types of things. Be very aware of a change in your behavior in case they have gotten into something.
Always great advice. Thanks, Angela. And Angela is going to be back with us next week to get your kids ready for summer with some easy ways to keep them hydrated. Very important. If you missed any of her points, you want to share the information with another parent, just go to abcactionnews.com or Angela's website, tampabayparenting.com.